Brand new music from Chris Young. We're going to tell you about it coming up. This episode of Connected with Kelly is sponsored by Pickers Vodka, proudly made in Nashville, Tennessee. So Pickers is a tribute to the musicians whose sounds fill the air in Music City. Pickers Vodka is distilled 11 times from non-GMO corn, and it's gluten-free. My new favorite is the Pickers Unplugged Vodka Soda. They're in cans. They are only 96 calories, 0 carbs, great flavors. You need to give them a try. Visit pickersvodka.com to find out more or to order online. Hey everybody, welcome to this episode of Connected with Kelly. Chris Young has a brand new album, Famous Friends. Now, it was actually finished and ready to go back in 2019. But I found out if he would have released it when he was supposed to, we would have missed out on some really good songs. Let's get the scoop. Time to get connected with Chris Young. You know, I'm so glad that there's actually new music because you've teased us for so long. I was like, come on. Is this real? Is this a real thing?
The one bright spot and what I've been telling everybody about this record is it wouldn't be the same had I put it out in 2019. There was new songs that got added to this. There's a song At the End of a Bar with Mitchell Timpany that we wrote at the beginning of this year. So, and you know what? It's the right timing. Famous Friends just went #1 for a couple weeks, and it's the name of the album, and we get to drop the album.
It's almost like you planned it.
Yeah.
I love it. Okay, so you this was already ready to go then before everything happened. How hard was it to not completely want to start over? Because I know you, and it is hard not to tinker with stuff and like get in there and like, oh, but if we did this one more time and then...
I totally understand. I will say, Raised on Country, Drowning, Famous Friends,
right.
Town Ain't Big Enough with Lauren Elena, all those were done. All those were ready to go. But like I said, there's stuff that got written and came into my space that didn't exist then. So this is what this album was supposed to be. And this was all in its own timing. And now, it's what it was meant to be.
Okay, so what were the other songs that got written or would not have existed on this album had it come out when it was supposed to? You said the duet with Mitchell At the End of the Bar.
One of Them Nights, which we actually just released as a Grat track leading up to the launch of the record. And there's a couple more on there, I think, that weren't around. So it's just one of those things where kept writing, kept recording. That was the one thing I could do, was hole up in the studio. That was my creative outlet. So ended up giving me the time I needed to really round this album out exactly like I wanted.
Okay, I have to ask you a question about Famous Friends. Congrats, by the way, 12th #1. Not that anyone's counting, right?
I'm counting. It's fine.
We're all counting. Listen, we're all counting. I'm just kidding. So I heard this, and I have to verify if this is true or not, that your buddy Jason really is the sheriff, and he really did not know he was in this song until he heard it on the radio.
Yes, and I lied. He would pull me over and give me a ticket and think it was hilarious.
Oh, really?
1,000%.
I saw that. I don't remember where I read that, but I was like, oh, this is great. I have to figure out if this is real. So you didn't even like send him a text and be like, hey, dude, watch out. I dropped your name.
I told most people that were named in the song. And I also had to explain to somebody the other day, they were like, these are all real people. And I'm like, yeah, there's only one person that I name that's not their job.
Who's that?
What they do. And it was Randy, because Randy is Randy Goodman at my label.
Oh, really? Okay, that's great.
So, just like a little funny inside joke for us.
Okay, well, that makes me feel better now. But yeah, when I heard that, I was like, I got to verify whether or not this is true. Seeing that go to #1, I saw what you put out on social media, and you said, my career started with a number 37, followed by a number 52, and then a number 37 in that order. What was the feeling happening to you when that third song went to number 37? Because I know what that means. You know what that means in the country music world.
I hated the number 37 for a while.
I bet.
But then the funny thing is Getting You Home, which was the fourth single, which went to number one, went to number one in 37 weeks.
So now that's your number, right? You can never shake 37.
We throw a mini party every time a single gets past 37.
Okay, putting this album out, coming up, you wrote, what, 13 of the 14 songs?
Mm-hmm.
Which one did you not write?
Cross Every Line.
Okay.
Which it's the same thing that always happens. I always find at least like one or two songs where I'm just like, man, I wish I'd have written that. I have to cut this on my record. And for me, that song just really jumped out. I was like, this is really, really cool. It's so well written. Love the verses, love the chorus, love the melody, love everything about it. And I was like, I have to have this. You have to let me cut this song.
When I'm listening to this album today and I heard that, I was like, oh, wow, it's a beautiful song because of the imagery in it. And I can visualize all of it because it's just so well written.
Yeah, for sure.
Love that. Love Looks Good on You, I feel like needs to be everybody's wedding song. If not for this year, then maybe next year, maybe fall weddings. Don't you feel?
Maybe fall weddings. Yeah, let's go.
Let's just put that out there.
Go ahead. Just go ahead and use it. You don't even need to hear it yet. It's fine.
You don't
make sure you get the record.
Make sure you get the record August 6th. And then you can just, like, if you've got a fall wedding, that's plenty of time. If you're getting married in October to fall in love with this song.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure we were on the same page there. When you got to perform on the 5th, which, by the way, I missed you. I was hosting on the 4th downtown. And then, like, you decided to do your stuff on the 5th. And I hated that we didn't get to see each other. It's fine. But when you were down there and you had this incredible, enormous crowd, first of all, was that the biggest crowd that you've been around since the world has opened up again?
No, because I started playing at the end of June. So I've been out for a couple weekends now, and it's been fantastic. But I will say, when we were shooting, and it's for the video for At the End of a Bar with Mitchell. We were doing some shots in the afternoon, and I'm like, okay, cool. There's like maybe 1,000 people out here. We can get some shots of like a crowd like that. And then we kind of went away and we're shooting some other stuff. And then we got some shots of the band. And then me and Mitchell came back out to run the song. And it was over 15,000 people. It was just nuts. And I knew people would show up. I didn't know people were going to show up like that. So it was so awesome. And it looks so cool. The one clip that I've seen, I was like, I don't want to see an edit of the video until it's done. But the one clip that my director, Jeff Johnson, showed me, he was like, you got to see this one in the crowd. And it's just stunning.
Oh, man, I cannot wait to see this. How did the duet with Mitchell come about?
So we wrote that song together actually when it iced over Nashville at the beginning of this year. It was like day 3 or day 4 where it wasn't all ice anymore. It was like pretty much just snow. You could drive on it. And we had the conversation via text message like, do you want to write today? Do you want to reschedule? What do you want to do? And we both were like super in our own heads, like fear of missing out. What if we're supposed to write something cool today? We got to show up, got to go to work. And ended up writing this song, and he sang a version of it. And then I sang a version of it. And I just wanted the version of him so I could, one, because I love his voice, but two, I was just like, I want to listen with somebody else's vocal on it and see if I like this as much as I think I do. And about a week went by, and I was like, dude, I think we should turn this into a duet. Like, do you have any interest in doing that? And he was like, yes, absolutely. Let's go. So it just became something really cool that was jumping off the page a lot for people. And it was one of the early favorites once I turned everything in.
You've got the song with Kane. You've got the song with Mitchell. You've got the duet with Lauren, Elena, Town Ain't Big Enough. So did you mean to have that many collaboration duets on this album, or did it just work out?
I mean, I think it just worked out that way. And, obviously really easy to be like, oh yeah, we named it Famous Friends because this song looked like it was going to be a hit. But actually having the tie-in with all the songwriters that are involved on this project, all the musicians that are involved, the number of collabs, the people that came in and helped me co-produce different sides, there's just more people giving themselves to this project than I've ever really had happen before on one record. And it just made sense to name the record Famous Friends.
In being out on the road, you said, you'd already started going out the end of June. First time that you were on that stage, what was the feeling like? And did you have any anxiety about it?
Everybody's asked that. I was like, there was zero anxiety. There was just like restless energy before I went on stage. I was like, I have to make sure not to go like shooting off the end of the stage into the crowd because I was just so pumped and so happy to be back. And you could tell that was going both directions. That was like everybody in my band felt the same way. Everybody on stage felt that way. Everybody in the crowd was giving that right back to us. And it was just, it was magical.
When you're out on like the tour, when you're out on the stage and you're putting out some of the new material, is it kind of an A/B test? Are you out there playing? Are you playing the same thing all the time? Is it going to be the same set list? Are you peppering in little sprinkles of this new album so people can hear it?
I don't play new stuff.
You don't at all?
Not until the album's out. The only ones that I've added in, people heard me play "Hold My Beer, Watch This" early, just because it's a fun beer drinking song, and then obviously "Raised on Country" and "Drowning" are in the set, and then now, if I don't play "Famous Friends," people would probably throw things at the stage. So, like that's it. I don't really test stuff early live, mainly because like the very first time I want people to hear it, I want them to hear what we did on the record. Then we'll play that live. But if you're going to spend that much time making something, you kind of want the very first reveal people get to be the album.
So you're good at keeping secrets.
Sometimes.
I like it.
There's people behind like the screen right now looking at me going,
not at all. You're really, really not. How's the podcast going? Are you still loving it? It's fun to watch people start new ventures and new projects, but you really dove into that, and I can tell that you love it on a different level. Like some people are doing it as side hustle, whatever. They'll do it for a while, and then they're like, I'm done with it. I don't think that's the case for you. I think you're always going to have this.
No, it's always going to exist, and I love it. It's honestly just a different way for me to get parts of me out there that maybe people don't just hear through the music. So being able to talk about sports and talk about movies and also music, but then being able to have fun with Ryan and Haley and Josh, my friends that are on the podcast with me, it's just great. So it's there'll be an episode of The Quad with Chris Young every Monday as long as I can possibly do it.
Okay. I definitely want to talk more about One of Them Nights. Give me some backstory about how this started. I mean, when I heard it, I immediately think once the album's out and you're playing the new stuff, that this could be the way that you open the show. Like I pictured that. I was like, man, this could be
that's what we were trying to do. Honestly, when we started the song, once the idea was kind of rolling, we were like, this is like a show opener. Like this is like the lights go off, we play this. Because it's that sig lick and then what the whole song's about, and it's just a vibe. And I love this one. So wrote it with Chris Stefano and Rhett Akins. Definitely had a lot of fun that day writing this song.
That sounds like a Rhett song. Okay, it's all about the field party. Did you guys have field parties? Were you a big field party kind of guy?
Yeah, we used to do that was like if there was ever a time when I was testing out new music on unsuspecting people, is you'd bring a guitar, lower the tailgate, sit up there, and you'd pass a guitar around. And like every couple rounds, I'd be like, well, here's something I wrote, and just see what people did. So that was field parties and bonfires, good times.
Do you remember a time where you played something that you wrote and it did not go over well?
Oh yeah. I was like, well, nope. I was like, not that one.
I just picture that. You're like, well, here's what I wrote and scene. Okay.
And no. All right. Good. Moving on.
Is there a song that you wrote that when you played it, everybody went nuts and you went, okay, I need more of that?
So here's the deal. Because of all the blasting that they're doing, that's the only thing I can think of, because we heard a really loud blast and then we lost power. But it's like all of Music Row, because I just got a call from my studio that the power just went out there too. So
are you kidding me? Oh my gosh. So everything's dark and quiet.
Yeah. And I'm now holding my phone so I can finish this interview with you.
Oh my God, I'm so sorry. You still look great. You still look great. Tell me when your arm gets tired and we can take a minute and you can drop it and then put it back up.
Oh no,
Me too.
we got it.
When I see beads of sweat start to develop, then I'll know that your arm is like giving out. It'll be fine. No worries. One question I didn't get a chance to ask you, we do something fun where we just talk about your favorite throwback song. So if I was saying, hey, give me your favorite throwback country song that I'm playing for you right now, what would it be?
Okay, my favorite throwback country song. Um, you know what? I'll do one that ties right into the record. Honky Tonk Attitude, Joe Diffie.
Boy, where were you when you first heard it?
But probably in the car. I was like, my family listened to country music in the car. If we were going anywhere, that's what was on the radio 99% of the time.
Love that. That one broke a hole wide open in my heart last year. So I know it did you too. You felt the same about Joe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When I recorded Raised on Country, he was the first person that reached out and said, thanks for the name drop. So
Oh, sweet friend. Such a sweet friend. I do want to talk about your mama and all the wonderful things that she's been doing because every time I see her, I'm like, what are you working on? But she was putting out these amazing, like, little tidbits of if you need to stretch money, like, this is the best recipe. And I thought, gosh, she's so resourceful and so funny. What do you take away from your mom? Like, what's the best characteristic that you developed that came from your mom?
oh man. Probably just perseverance. I mean, she was a single parent, raising me and my sister before my stepdad came along, who, if you ever hear me talk about my dad, he's actually my stepdad. But it cracks me up because people are like, y'all look just alike. We're like, thank you. But yeah, just her ability to just never give up and keep fighting through that. Like when I talk about the beginning of my career where it went, first single died at 37, second single died at 52, third single died at 37. There was a reason why I was like, I'm just going to keep going, put my head down. So it's fun being at this point in my career, but I don't think I'd be there without the stuff that she instilled in me.
It's interesting that you brought it back around to that because I do want to talk about that a little bit more. I know that those are the numbers that you remember. What was the feeling like, though? Because I can't fathom when you're a new artist and you're so full of hope and wonder and all the things. And I got this world and I'm going to shake it down. And then it doesn't play out for not one, but 3 singles. Were you really downtrodden at that point? Like what?
I guess that's why it's funny because you're all full of hope and wonder, and I'm like, that is not what I remember the beginning of my career being like. So I don't think it was ever downtrodden because you know what, you're never promised anything in music. Like I can make all the music I want. People have to want to hear it. It has to be the right timing. There's just so many different factors that go into that. If you're not doing it for the love of it, at some point you're going to be like, man, should I keep doing this? But I just love making music.
Do you think, too, being as close as you were to the music industry before you actually got into it, you knew more of what you were getting into?
Uh, I don't know if that was the case. Um, but I'd seen a lot of other people go through a lot more no's than yeses for a long time, and I knew that was part of it.
That's good to know. Good to take away from it. What's the best thing about having this album finally come out? Like it's coming out, it's Christmas that's been waiting for months and months and months for you.
Yeah, I mean, I would say just for me that it is out there and I don't have to keep telling people soon. Because that's the most annoying thing that I do is I'm like, if I don't have a good answer and I don't want to lie to you, I'm just like, soon. Yeah.
Tell me before we go about Tonight We're Dancing. I love it. When I heard it, I was like, this feels like a 90s throwback flair. Everything about it just hitting the right spot.
Thank you. I mean, it's one of my favorite things on the record. I figured that was a perfect way to kind of end an album when you're talking about that moment where sometimes it's just you and somebody else dancing in the kitchen and no one knows what's going on but the two of you. And just taking the idea of that moment and turning it into a song, I thought was really fun.
Okay, so what's next? We got the album out, but what are 3 steps ahead? Because I feel like you're a chess player in your head and you've already got it all mapped out.
I'm laughing because everybody behind him is like, it's not even out yet.
But we know.
It's not out yet. You'll hear soon.
This is your favorite word. I feel like you need a tattoo that says soon.
I don't have any tattoos, so that would be the first one.
That would be the very first one. I'm so happy that it's happening soon and wonderful things are going on and that you still have the podcast happening and all of that. That's excellent.
Well, thank you again, and thanks for getting the word out about the new music.
Even in the dark, Chris still looks great, right? Famous Friends, the name of the album. I want to know your favorite Chris Young song. Put it below while you're there. Hit the subscribe button and the bell, and you will be alerted when we drop new videos. That happens each and every week. Do me a favor, tell all your friends about our YouTube channel because we want it to continue to grow. All right, everybody, until next time, make sure that you're staying connected with all of the people and things you love the most. Bye.